What's interesting is Bob called me 2 years ago, said, "This is a blast from the past. I'm Bob Norman. I was in your first class, and you probably don't remember me." And I did. 30 years later, I said, "You weren't the tallest guy in the class, but you were very good looking, a smart kid, and I do remember you." So first of all, I'd like to acknowledge my brother and my sister who could not be here. This is a great privilege for us. I'm a school teacher, so I walk around a little bit. And it's a great honor, so on behalf of Helen and John, it's a privilege to be here. I would like to really thank Bob because my dad's football career was well chronicled, and we knew all about it, but I didn't know much about rugby. And Brian Cooper wrote a book about the Heisman and my dad, and when Bob called me, I said, "Brian, tell me about the rugby." And he said, "Well, there's a couple pages, and you saw one of the pictures in the slideshow, but there wasn't much in the book about rugby." So in the last 2 years, I've learned a great deal. And it's really been a whole new chapter of my dad's life. My dad was born in Dubuque, Iowa. His dad was a blacksmith, and they had a small farm, chickens only and stuff. And my dad, when he entered high school, there were two tracks, vocational and academic. No Berwanger had ever gone to college, so my dad entered vocational. I wouldn't be standing here this evening if it wasn't for Ira Davenport. He was an Olympic athlete in his own right in the 1912 Olympics, a sprinter, and he went to the University of Chicago, and he owned the Dubuque shipyards where my dad worked from the age 11 on. It was the Depression, so he worked, wherever he could get a job. And Ira said, "You know what, Jay, you can go to college. You better talk to my dad, because he doesn't know about that." So Ira went to John Berwanger, my grandfather, and said, "John, the blacksmith, Jay's going to college." No, we don't go to college. And no, yes, Jay's going to college. He's got great athletic ability, and we just got to get him out of the vocational track, put him in the academic track. So he was the mentor for my father. So my father went to the academic track, had a good year in Dubuque, good high school years, and a lot of all-state teams, and was recruited by, of course, Iowa and Illinois, Michigan, Wisconsin, but he applied to one school. That was Ira's school at the University of Chicago, which was in the Big Ten in those days. So he went to Chicago. If my dad was standing here now, as Bob said, he was very, very humble. I didn't see the Heisman Trophy. It was a doorstop until I was like 8 years old. And then it came to our house, and we all saw it. And then it went to the basement, where it stayed for many years. My dad said one time, I said, "Dad, the Heisman Trophy, why don't you do more with it?" He said, that's what I did. That's not who I am." He said, "So many people who can hit a ball and catch a ball and throw a ball and run with the ball think they're really special. They're just good athletes, but they're not good people. A good person, necessarily, a good person is a good provider, is a good husband, is a good father, is a good friend. That's what's important to me, not the trophy." So he would say he was very lucky to get all those awards. So 1936, my dad graduates from college. It's the Depression. He goes to work for Feather Edge Rubber Company and makes speeches and trying to make some money, and gets married. But something was missing in his life. And in 1939, he found rugby. Now you understand, my dad went to college and played football and was very successful, but football was a means to his future, never to go back to Dubuque. He got a business degree and started business in Chicago. He played rugby for fun. He played rugby for the competition. He played rugby for the contact. He broke his nose 3 times and he's playing rugby. And the friends he made in rugby, that was the main thing. And he did win some games, 19-0, and as Bob said, in 1939. He didn't win very many at the University of Chicago when they were in the Big Ten, so it was nice to win. But he had lifetime memories, super memories of rugby, and friends he kept forever. Two things I want to mention. Larry Kelly won the 2nd Heisman Trophy from Yale. And in the Heisman presentation, here's my dad, here's Larry Kelly, and then he was there for 70 years, never missed one presentation. So all the names for the Heisman Trophy, all the people, especially when television took over, that we remember, he met them all, had his picture taken with him and so on. But when I was growing up, I never heard those names. I heard Larry Kelly. And I said, one time I said, "Dad, Larry Kelly, 2nd winner Heisman Trophy, I know you sit next to him, but every time you go to New York, you go see Larry. You guys play golf, have dinner, and then Larry comes to Chicago, he comes to our house. I've never seen another Heisman Trophy winner in our house. Johnny Latner won it from Notre Dame. He lives a half hour away. He's never been here. So what's with Larry Kelly? Why are you such good friends? My dad's answer, one word, rugby. I played rugby against Larry, and we became friends. The last story, there was a picture up, I don't know if you saw it. It was of a 1961 Hall of Fame dinner at Waldorf Astoria. Here's my father standing here, you may have seen it. Jack Kennedy, President Kennedy, right across the way, Douglas MacArthur next to him, and Dwight Eisenhower next to Douglas. So just after the picture was taken, this is one of my dad's favorite stories. He reached out and he said to Jack Kennedy, he said, President Kennedy, I'm Jay Berwanger. And it's a Hall of Fame dinner, football Hall of Fame dinner, you know. So he just expected, okay, Heisman Trophy. And President Kennedy says, Jay, I know you. You played rugby against my brother Joe. So football was never mentioned. Never mentioned. So my dad was a lifelong Republican. And he said, you know, I've heard this story 100 times, totally true. He said, that man was so dynamic, so energetic, so motivational, so inspirational. He said, Kennedy, he said, if he would have talked to me another 5 minutes, I would have become a Democrat. And if he would have talked to me 15 more minutes, I would have become a Catholic. So that is one of his favorite times. So in conclusion, if my dad was here, he would say he was very proud, happy, and honored to be inducted in the U.S. Rugby Hall of Fame. Thank you very much.